Her guardian did one thing she never expected. Mara Linden never imagined her life would fall apart on a Tuesday, the most disrespectful day of the week for a heartbreak. Mondays expect chaos. Fridays bring surprises. But Tuesdays should mind their business. Yet here she was, standing in the narrow hallway of her aunt's cramped apartment, watching her belongings, all 9.5 of them, being thrown into a plastic grocery bag that once held frozen tilapia. Her aunt, arms folded and breathing like she'd just completed a marathon she didn't train for, pointed at the door. "Pack your things, Mara. You can't stay here another night." Mara blinked. "But I literally just buried my mother 2 weeks ago. And am I supposed to bury myself next because you're here sucking up electricity?" Her aunt dug into the worn-out sofa cushions as if she expected rent to magically appear there. "Your mother didn't leave any money, and I'm not feeding another grown woman." Mara was 20, technically grown, yes, but only in age, not in experience. Her cousin Tasha chimed in from the kitchen, without looking away from her phone. "Honestly, Mara, you should be grateful. We let you stay the whole 2 weeks. Some people would kick you out the same day." Mara felt her throat tighten. Her mother's funeral wasn't even fully paid for. Her clothes smelled like cheap detergent, and she didn't have a single person she could call. "I have nowhere to go," she whispered. "That sounds like a you problem," Tasha said, between mouthfuls of cereal. Her aunt dumped Mara's grocery bag suitcase into her arms. "Take your dead mother's things too. I don't want reminders." She shoved a small cardboard box toward her. Inside were odds and ends, a bracelet her mom wore, a cracked picture frame, a folded piece of paper sealed in an envelope she didn't recognize. "What is this?" Mara asked, holding up the envelope. "No idea. Came in the mail months ago. I didn't bother to open it." Her aunt turned away, already done with the conversation. Mara stared at the envelope. Her name was written in formal handwriting, too neat, too elegant, too purposeful. Her stomach tightened with curiosity and dread at the same time. She stepped outside, dragging her cheap sneakers along the sidewalk. The apartment door slammed behind her like a final punctuation mark. The sky wasn't kind either. It started drizzling, as if the universe wanted her to feel cinematic misery. The sad girl in the rain aesthetic, except she didn't even have an umbrella or dignity. Under a flickering bus stop sign, she finally opened the envelope. Her breath caught. It was a legal guardianship document. Her father, the man she barely remembered, had signed it before he died years ago. It named one man as her legal guardian until she married or turned 25, Lucan Hale. Her pulse jumped. She knew the name. Everyone did. Lucan Hale was a quiet, wealthy real estate investor whose face rarely appeared online. The tabloids called him the Phantom CEO because whenever people tried to photograph him, he simply wasn't there. Mara frowned. Why would a billionaire-type man be named as her guardian? She hadn't even known her father was close to someone like that. But the address was clear, a gated private estate on the outskirts of the city in the US. Her stomach flipped. Maybe, just maybe, this was the lifeline her mother prayed she'd have. Or maybe it was a terrible idea. But terrible ideas were the only ones she could afford. She boarded the next bus with her plastic bag and cardboard box. The Hale estate looked like it was built by someone who didn't believe in roofs being simple. Everything was glass, concrete, and rich people angles, the kind of architecture that made you whisper, "Money lives here." The security guard stepped forward immediately. "State your business." Mara held out her envelope with shaky hands. "I think I live here." The guard blinked twice. Professional blink, confused blink. He scanned the document. His eyebrows slowly climbed into his hairline. One moment, he spoke into his comms. A car rolled forward, sleek, black and expensive enough to cover the national debt of a small island. A woman stepped out. Suri Medina, assistant house manager, ponytail too tight for nonsense. "You're Mara Linden?" "Yes." Suri looked her up and down. Not rudely, just evaluating whether Mara was real or a prank created by teenagers with too much free time. "Come with me," she said. Inside the estate, everything smelled like polished floors and secrets. Suri guided Mara down a long hallway into a minimalist living room. "Wait here. I'll notify Mr. Hale." Mara clutched her bag, her heart racing. She heard footsteps long before she saw him. Lucan Hale entered the room like someone who didn't know how to enter rooms. Tall, sharp suit, hair slightly tousled, jaw set in stone. Everything about him screamed, "I'm emotionally unavailable. Please do not approach without scheduling an appointment 2 months in advance." He stopped when he saw her. His expression broke, not fully, but enough that something flickered in his eyes. "Mara Linden," he said slowly. "You're alive." She blinked. "I hope so." Suri coughed to hide a laugh. Lucan approached, still staring like someone who'd just encountered a ghost he wasn't ready to see. "I didn't know your mother had passed," he said, voice tightening. Mara nodded, swallowing hard. "She's gone. And my aunt, well, she made it very clear I don't belong there." Lucan exhaled through his nose, long and controlled, the inhale of a man who lived his whole life managing emergencies. He looked down at the document. "This wasn't supposed to happen," he muttered. "Your father signed this when you were a child. I thought your family was taking care of you." "They weren't," Mara whispered. Silence filled the room like cold air. He closed his eyes briefly. When they opened again, the decision was made. "You'll stay here." he said. Mara froze. What? You were entrusted to me. I won't abandon that responsibility. You'll stay here. You'll have a room. You'll be safe. Suri cleared her throat and whispered, Sir hasn't allowed any woman to live here in 11 years. Lucan shot her a sharp look. Suri raised her hands innocently. Mara frowned. Why? Is something wrong with having women around? Suri whispered. Girl, you have no idea, Lucan said sternly. Suri, enough. Mara hugged herself, both nervous and oddly relieved. She didn't know why Lucan Hale looked at her like she was a memory he didn't want to remember. She didn't know why he hadn't allowed any woman to live in the mansion for a decade. She didn't know why her father trusted him more than her own relatives. But she was here now, and the estate doors closed behind her with a heavy, echoing thud that sounded way too much like fate. Mara Linden learned something very quickly on her first night in the Hale estate. Rich people lived differently, very differently. Her room, guest suite, was bigger than the entire apartment she grew up in. The shower had 5 buttons she didn't understand. The bed was too soft. The lights were controlled by an app she didn't have. And when she sneezed too loudly, the echo took 5 seconds to finish bouncing around the ceiling. She sat on the edge of the plush mattress, hugging her knees, feeling painfully out of place. A soft knock came at the door. Suri peeked in. Checking on you. Settling in. Okay? Mara nodded weakly. Do the lights turn off automatically, or do I have to tell them my future goals first? Suri snorted. They're motion sensor lights. But honestly, talking might work too. Mr. Hale likes obedient electronics. Mara laughed. The first real laugh since her mother passed. Suri came inside and sat beside her. Let me give you the crash course. Living with Lucan Hale comes with rules. A lot of them. Have you met him? He breathes rules. I noticed. Mara pulled her knees tighter. Suri ticked them off with her fingers. Rule 1. Don't enter his private wing. Ever. If you do, security alarms will scream like they're being murdered. Got it. Rule 2. Dinner is at 7. He won't join, but he still expects you to be at the table. Why? Mara frowned. He calls it maintaining household rhythm. It's weird, but he pays us well, so we pretend it makes sense. Fair enough. Rule 3. He doesn't like being interrupted while working. Okay. Rule 4. He doesn't like loud music, or loud laughter, or loud emotions. Mara blinked. Does he like anything? Suri paused, then whispered, coffee and silence. And dogs. Yeah. He fosters rescued ones sometimes. They like him. I'm not shocked. Dogs always trust emotionally broken men. It's like a hobby for them. Mara's eyes softened. Is he broken? Suri inhaled slowly. You didn't hear this from me. But a long time ago, he lost someone important, and he never really came back from it. Mara stared at the floor. Oh, anyway, Suri said quickly, standing. That's Act 1 of Living with Lucan Hale. Act 2 is tomorrow, if you survive. Mara smiled, but her heart ached. She barely knew him, but she'd seen it, the way he froze when he saw her, like a memory punched him in the chest. Maris. The estate woke early. Mara did not. She stumbled into the kitchen at 10 in the morning, wearing pajama shorts and a hoodie with a questionable stain on it. Suri nearly dropped a tray. Oh my God, sit. Quick, before he sees pajamas. Why? He believes pajamas equal emotional instability. What? Mara choked on her own spit. Before Suri could answer, Lucan Hale himself walked in. Mara froze like a deer caught shoplifting. Lucan stopped. His eyes flicked down at her pajamas, then back to her face. His expression didn't change, but something in the air thickened. Morning, he said. Mara squeaked. Good morning, in a voice that betrayed her entire bloodline. He walked to the espresso machine, pressing the buttons with surgical precision. He didn't look at her again, which made her even more aware of him. Suri attempted to break the tension. So, weather's crazy today. Lucan responded with the enthusiasm of a man asked to donate both kidneys. Indeed. Mara cleared her throat. I slept well. Thank you for the room. Lucan nodded curtly. Good. Suri whispered to Mara. Wow, emotional fireworks. Lucan glanced at both of them. I'll be in the study. Please don't disturb me unless it's urgent. He left. Mara exhaled hard. He's intense. Intense? Girl, that man invented intensity. Someone once sneezed near him, and he gave them a 2-hour lecture on allergies. The estate had more senses than Mara was emotionally prepared for. When she walked into the hallway, click, lights on. When she walked back, click, lights off. When she breathed too loudly, click, lights panicked. It felt like the walls monitored her every step. Suri later explained gently, Lucan installed these after the loss. Makes him feel like he can predict danger. Mara didn't ask further. Around 2 in the afternoon, Mara got lost trying to find the laundry room. She ended up in a corridor lined with frosted glass. A red light blinked above one door. Curiosity whispered, "Open it." Her hand brushed the handle. Alarm, instant alarm, loud, metallic, angry. Mara screamed and stumbled back. Within 30 seconds, 2 guards and Lucan Hale were running down the hallway. Lucan stopped in front of her, chest rising sharply. Suri was next to him, panting. I told you the alarms scream like they're being murdered. Lucan looked at Mara, not angry, not shouting, just pale. Mara, he said quietly, Are you hurt? She shook her head quickly. No, I swear I wasn't trying to break in. I got lost, and the door, and then the alarm, and She didn't realize tears had formed until one splashed onto her hand. Lucan inhaled slowly, forcing himself calm. It's okay, he said gently. You're fine. That's all that matters. His voice, the softness, shocked both her and Suri. The guards dispersed. Only the three of them remained in the hallway. Suri mouthed behind Lucan. He's never said that sentence to anyone, ever. Lucan rubbed his temple. Next time you're lost, ask a staff member. Mara nodded. I'm sorry. I'm not angry, he said. And it sounded like the truth surprised him too. For 3 seconds, they simply looked at each other. And in those 3 seconds, something shifted in him. Something subtle, something dangerous. He turned away too quickly. We'll talk later. Come to the dining room at 6. He left before she could reply. Suri pressed a hand to her chest. Girl, what did you do to him? I didn't do anything. Mara, that man just ran like Olympic track when he heard an alarm. He thought something happened to you. Mara's cheeks burned. She didn't know how to process that. Nida was quiet. Lucan didn't attend, but Mara noticed something strange. There was a second plate at the opposite end of the table, perfectly arranged, untouched. Suri saw her confused look. He always sets a second place, she whispered. Habit. Never sits in it, though. Why? Someone used to sit there. Someone he lost. Mara swallowed painfully. The estate was full of ghosts. Not literal, but memories he refused to release. Memories that clung to him like shadows. And now she was living inside those shadows. That night, Mara sat on her bed, scrolling through her phone. She typed Lucan Hale into the search bar. There wasn't much, just old articles and a few blurry photos. But one article headline caught her eye. Young fiancé of real estate heir disappears in tragic river accident. The name hit her. Rowena Vale. Her stomach twisted. Rowena Vale. So that was the someone Suri meant. No wonder he looked at Mara strangely. No wonder the alarms. No wonder the strict rules and constant distance. This house was a museum of grief, and she was a living reminder of a chapter he had failed to close. Mara closed her phone. I'm not Rowena, she whispered to herself. He'll understand that. But doubt crept into her chest like smoke. Outside her room, down the hall, Lucan Hale stood by the railing, watching her door with unreadable eyes. His hand tightened over the wood. He didn't know why he cared. He didn't know why she unsettled him. He didn't know why her scream during the alarm had nearly stopped his heart. He only knew one thing. Something about Mara Linden was pulling him out of the past and dragging him, unwilling, terrified, into something new. Mara woke up unusually early the next morning. partly because she didn't want to run into Lucan Hale in her pajamas again, and partly because her stomach had decided to audition to be a percussion instrument. She needed breakfast, or chocolate, or a hug, preferably all three. Suri was already in the kitchen, preparing fruit bowls and lecturing a blender that refused to blend. "This thing hates me," Suri muttered. "Have you tried saying sorry to it?" Mara suggested. Suri blinked. "Girl, why am I friends with you?" Mara laughed. "Because I help heal your abusive relationship with kitchen appliances." Suri pointed at her dramatically. "Exactly." But Suri wasn't smiling the whole time. She kept glancing toward Lucan's office door. "You two okay?" she finally asked. Mara frowned. "What do you mean?" "You know what I mean. Last night he paced the hallway outside your room like a guard dog, with a degree in overthinking." Mara nearly choked on air. "He did what?" "Yeah. If you opened the door, he pretended to tie his shoelace. Lucan Hale doesn't even wear shoes with laces inside the house." Mara pressed her hands to her face. "It's not bad, Mara," Suri said. "The man clearly cares. He just also clearly doesn't know what to do with that." Before Mara could respond, Suri added, "Anyway, you're having breakfast somewhere else today." "Where?" "A cafe in town. The estate chef is deep cleaning the kitchen, and if you stay here, you'll starve." "Perfect. I'll go. And don't text Lucan for permission," Suri added dramatically. "He'll come up with a new rule like no breathing outside the estate." Her guardian did one thing she never expected. He followed her into the real world. The cafe was warm, bright, and smelled like cinnamon muffins and hope. Mara ordered a simple coffee and sat by the window, feeling like she had stepped into regular life again. She didn't realize she was smiling until someone tapped her table. "Is this seat taken?" She looked up. A young man, tall, ridiculously handsome, with a smile that could convince clouds to move, stood there holding a tray. His name tag read, Rowan Pike. Mara stuttered softly. No, you can sit." He sat, placing a latte in front of him. "You're new here," he said. "I would have remembered you." Mara blushed. "I'm staying at a place nearby." Rowan raised a brow with curiosity. "A place?" "A house," she corrected. "A house or a mansion?" "A mansion." Rowan grinned. "Ah, so you're rich?" "Oh God, no." Mara laughed. "I'm practically allergic to money." He laughed as well. "Then why are you in a mansion?" "Long story," she said. He leaned forward. "I like long stories." Mara felt a warm flutter in her chest. It had been a long time since anyone looked at her like she was a person, not a problem. They talked about silly things, about her messy attempt to work the estate shower, about his small family farm, about nothing and everything. For the first time in weeks, she felt normal, seen, alive. She didn't notice the door open. She didn't notice the air shift, but Rowan did. His smile faltered. Mara turned her head and froze. Lucan Hale stood at the entrance, in a fitted charcoal coat, hair slightly ruffled, eyes dark, expression unreadable. He looked like a man who did not belong in a cheerful cafe, like a storm cloud had walked in to file a complaint. Rowan whispered, "You know him?" Mara swallowed hard. "Unfortunately, yes." Lucan's eyes found her instantly. His gaze sharpened when he saw Rowan sitting across from her. Rowan straightened nervously. "Ah, he looks protective." "Oh no," Mara groaned. "He's coming over." Lucan approached the table with slow, measured steps, the kind that made everyone else in the cafe instinctively make space. "Morning," Lucan said, his voice too calm. Mara forced a smile. You're here, at a cafe, in daylight. Rowan choked on his latte. Lucan ignored him completely. Why didn't you inform the staff you were leaving the estate? Mara frowned. Lucan, I'm not a student on a field trip. I'm an adult. I'm allowed to go outside. Rowan widened his eyes. Adult? She lived with him? Lucan leaned slightly forward. Not without letting someone know where you are. Why? There was steel in her voice now. Lucan didn't answer immediately. His eyes flicked to Rowan again. A dangerous flick, a warning flick. Rowan lowered his gaze. Lucan straightened. We're leaving. Mara blinked. Excuse me. Lucan said nothing else. He simply turned slightly, expecting her to stand. Mara did not stand. Lucan, she whispered sharply, you're embarrassing me. This time something snapped behind his eyes. He leaned very close and murmured, you should not be meeting strangers alone. Rowan cleared his throat. She's fine. We were just talking. Lucan finally acknowledged him. Slowly, like someone acknowledging a mosquito. And who are you? Lucan asked. Rowan swallowed. Rowan Pike. I work here. Lucan's gaze flicked to the cafe uniform. Yes, I can see that. Mara's mouth fell open. Lucan. Rowan lifted his chin. I was just keeping her company. Lucan stepped closer, too close, protective, jealous, possessive in a way he couldn't hide. He placed one hand lightly on Mara's shoulder. Stand, he said quietly. Mara felt heat rush to her cheeks. Anger, confusion, embarrassment. No, everyone in the cafe suddenly forgot how to sip coffee quietly. Lucan inhaled sharply. He leaned down toward her, his voice low enough that only she could hear it. Mara, please, not here. Something in his tone made her chest tighten. Not command, not arrogance. Fear, but she was too frustrated to soften. She stood abruptly. Fine, let's talk, but outside. She brushed past him. Lucan followed. Rowan watched them go, eyebrows raised, muttering, what kind of rich people's soap opera is this? Outside, the air was cool. Cars passed. Life went on. But between them, everything stopped. Mara spun on him. What is wrong with you? Lucan looked furious at himself. At her, at Rowan, at gravity, at everything. You should have told someone you were leaving, he said. I'm not your prisoner. You aren't, he replied, stepping closer. Then stop controlling me. I'm not controlling you. You literally followed me to a cafe. Lucan exhaled sharply. I was passing by. Mara scoffed. Lucan, you don't pass by normal places. You teleport between high-security buildings and emotionally damaged mansions. His jaw tightened. Mara, no, you don't get to command my life just because you're my guardian. Lucan's voice dropped, dangerously low. I'm not commanding you. She stepped closer. You just dragged me away from a conversation with someone who was being kind to me. His eyes flickered with jealousy. Kind, he repeated. Yes, kind. Something you should try sometime. And that was when he moved. Quick, quiet, controlled. He stepped forward, braced his hand against the wall beside her head, and trapped her gently but firmly in the small alcove beside the cafe door. Not touching, but close enough to feel the heat of his breath. She sucked in air. His expression wasn't anger. It was something far more dangerous. Mara, he whispered, you have no idea what you're doing to me. Her heart stuttered. Lucan leaned even closer. That boy in there, he murmured, does not know you. He does not know where you came from, what you've been through, or what you need. And you do. she whispered. His eyes softened, just a fraction. I'm learning, she swallowed. Why does it matter who I talk to? Lucan's jaw clenched. Because I don't like seeing you with him. That sounds like jealousy, she whispered. Lucan said nothing. Silence was his answer. Her pulse raced. She whispered, "You're my guardian, not my." He cut her off quietly. Don't finish that sentence. The world around them blurred into nothing. Noise faded. Time slowed. Lucan's fingers grazed her hand. Slow, hesitant, forbidden. Her breath caught. He exhaled shakily. I shouldn't feel this way, and yet you do, she whispered. He closed his eyes briefly. The moment too much for him. When he opened them, he took a step back. Too fast, too abrupt, too afraid. This cannot happen, he said quietly. Get in the car. Mara stared at him, chest rising and leeing. She wasn't sure what broke more, her anger, her fear, or her defenses. She walked past him and got into the car. Lucan stood on the sidewalk for a moment, pressing a trembling hand to his forehead. What am I doing? He muttered. He didn't know. He only knew he'd crossed a line he never intended to cross in the worst possible place. The ride back to the Hale estate was a silent, emotionally confusing experience. Mara stared out the window the entire time, watching trees blur into streaks of green and gold. Lucan drove like a man trying not to think, which meant he was thinking too much. His grip on the steering wheel was so tight, she was surprised it didn't snap off. Occasionally he glanced at her. Each time she pretended she didn't notice. Each time his jaw tensed a little more. The cafe scene replayed in her head in high-definition embarrassment and heat and anger, and something she refused to name. Finally, the car rolled through the iron gates of the estate. Lucan cleared his throat. Mara, no, she whispered, unbuckling her seatbelt. Not yet. He froze. That was a first. She stepped out of the car without waiting for him and walked into the mansion. She heard him exhale behind her, a sharp, frustrated breath, before he followed. Inside, Suri met her with eyes full of exaggerated excitement. You're back. How was it? Did you see any attractive baristas? Did someone flirt? Did you elope? Tell me everything. Mara opened her mouth. Lucan opened his mouth. Their eyes met. Both shut their mouths. Suri looked between them like she was watching two goldfish trying to communicate. Oh, Suri said slowly. Oh, something happened. Lucan snapped. Nothing happened. Mara muttered. Too much happened. They said it at the same time. Suri inhaled like she'd just smelled premium-grade gossip. Oh, I see. Then quietly, dramatically, I'll prepare therapy-grade tea. But before she could turn, the front doors opened, and she walked in, tall, polished, high heels sharp enough to slice through concrete, designer coat that probably cost more than Mara's entire childhood, perfect curls, perfect lipstick, perfect smile, the kind that said, I have never lost a fight in my entire life. Helena Voss. She removed her sunglasses slowly, as though surrounded by paparazzi, instead of a confused housekeeper and a panicking assistant. Lucan, she said sweetly. Lucan went stiff, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Helena, he replied, sounding like someone who had just met his dentist unexpectedly in an alleyway. Helena walked straight to him and kissed his cheek like she'd been doing it for years. Mara blinked. Suri blinked. Lucan's soul left his body. What are you doing here? Lucan asked tightly. Helena pouted. What? No welcome hug. Helena, he repeated, the tone of a man praying for mercy. She finally glanced around the foyer and her gaze landed on Mara. Her eyes sharpened instantly. "And who," Helena said, tilting her head, "is this?" Mara swallowed. She's staying here temporarily," Lucan said quickly. Mara frowned. "Temporarily? Really?" Helena's eyes flicked between them. Her smile stretched wider. It was the kind of smile one wore when they smelled a threat. Lucan stood on the sidewalk for a moment, pressing a trembling hand to his forehead. "What am I doing?" he muttered. He didn't know. He only knew he'd crossed a line he never intended to cross in the worst possible place. The ride back to the Hale estate was a silent, emotionally confusing experience. Mara stared out the window the entire time, watching trees blur into streaks of green and gold. Lucan drove like a man trying not to think, which meant he was thinking too much. His grip on the steering wheel was so tight, she was surprised it didn't snap off. Occasionally he glanced at her. Each time she pretended she didn't notice. Each time his jaw tensed a little more. The cafe scene replayed in her head in high-definition embarrassment and heat and anger, and something she refused to name. Finally, the car rolled through the iron gates of the estate. Lucan cleared his throat. "Mara, no," she whispered, unbuckling her seatbelt. "Not yet." He froze. That was a first. She stepped out of the car without waiting for him and walked into the mansion. She heard him exhale behind her, a sharp, frustrated breath, before he followed. Inside, Suri met her with eyes full of exaggerated excitement. "You're back. How was it? Did you see any attractive baristas? Did someone flirt? Did you elope? Tell me everything." Mara opened her mouth. Lucan opened his mouth. Their eyes met. Both shut their mouths. Suri looked between them like she was watching two goldfish trying to communicate. "Oh," Suri said slowly. "Oh, something happened." Lucan snapped. "Nothing happened." Mara muttered. "Too much happened." They said it at the same time. Suri inhaled like she'd just smelled premium-grade gossip. "Oh, I see." Then quietly, dramatically, "I'll prepare therapy-grade tea." But before she could turn, the front doors opened, and she walked in, tall, polished, high heels sharp enough to slice through concrete, designer coat that probably cost more than Mara's entire childhood, perfect curls, perfect lipstick, perfect smile, the kind that said, "I have never lost a fight in my entire life." Helena Voss. She removed her sunglasses slowly, as though surrounded by paparazzi, instead of a confused housekeeper and a panicking assistant. "Lucan," she said sweetly. Lucan went stiff, physically, emotionally, spiritually. "Helena," he replied, sounding like someone who had just met his dentist unexpectedly in an alleyway. Helena walked straight to him and kissed his cheek like she'd been doing it for years. Mara blinked. Suri blinked. Lucan's soul left his body. "What are you doing here?" Lucan asked tightly. Helena pouted. "What? No welcome hug." "Helena," he repeated, the tone of a man praying for mercy. She finally glanced around the foyer, and her gaze landed on Mara. Her eyes sharpened instantly. "And who," Helena said, tilting her head, "is this?" Mara swallowed. She's staying here temporarily," Lucan said quickly. Mara frowned. "Temporarily? Really?" Helena's eyes flicked between them. Her smile stretched wider. It was the kind of smile one wore when they smelled a threat. "A house guest?" Helena asked. Lucan nodded. "Yes. Interesting," she murmured. "In 11 years you've never allowed a woman to live here. Not even me." Lucan stiffened. "It is different." "Oh, I'm sure it is," Helena said, still scanning Mara like a barcode. Suri whispered behind her hand, "Oh Lord, the battle of the century." Helena finally stepped forward and extended a hand toward Mara. "I'm Helena Voss," she said, voice dripping money and attitude. "And you are Mara Linden." Helena blinked once, twice, assessing her shoes, her hair, her outfit, her entire existence. Then she leaned closer as if sharing a secret. "I love your simplicity." Translation: "I love how much poorer you are." Mara forced a smile. "Thank you. I love your height." Suri silently screamed behind her. Lucan stepped between them, literally. "Helena," he said firmly, "why are you here?" She brushed invisible dust off his shoulder. "I came because your mother called me this morning." Lucan's face went blank. "What did she tell you?" "That you're avoiding the conversation about your engagement," Helena said, with a dramatic sigh. "So I came to help." Mara's stomach dropped. "Engagement?" she whispered. Helena turned with that beautiful weaponized smile. "Oh yes, darling. Haven't you heard? Our families have planned it since childhood." Lucan inhaled sharply. "Helena, stop." Helena ignored him. She raised her chin, addressing Mara directly. "It's only a matter of time before Lucan and I make it official. Isn't that right, sweetheart?" Lucan nearly choked. "No, absolutely not." Helena pouted again. "He always gets shy." Mara blinked slowly. "Shy?" Lucan Hale, the man whose facial expression range was cold, colder, and arctic. Helena continued. "Anyway, I'll be staying for the weekend. I assume my usual room is prepared." Lucan opened his mouth to say no, but Helena was already giving her coat to a confused staff member. "Well," she said brightly, "this is going to be fun." Then she turned and glided up the stairs. Drama queen, villain, and supermodel in one package. Silence fell. Lucan pressed his fingers to the bridge of his nose. "This is not happening." Suri whispered to Mara. "Oh, it's happening." Mara's chest tightened. She didn't know why. She wasn't supposed to feel anything. Lucan was her guardian. That was all. Right. But the image of Helena kissing his cheek replayed over and over, and the little voice in her head whispered, "Why does this hurt?" Later, Mara tried to distract herself by helping Suri wash vegetables. Suri whispered, "So, about the cafe." Mara nearly sliced a carrot in half lengthwise, and the countertop with it. "That was nothing. Girl, the man pinned you against a wall." Suri, "It wasn't. He didn't." "Okay, yes, but I knew it," Suri said, slapping the counter triumphantly. Mara buried her burning face in her hands. "It's so complicated." "Well, it's about to get more complicated," Suri said, nodding toward the doorway. Mara turned and froze. Lucan stood there, leaning against the counter, watching her like she was a riddle he couldn't solve. His voice was unusually soft. "Mara, can we talk?" Suri immediately bailed, whispering, "Bye," and vanishing like smoke. Mara wiped her palms on her jeans. "Sure." Lucan approached slowly. The air tightened again. Same tension, same unspoken questions. He opened his mouth, searching for words. "I shouldn't have acted like that earlier." Mara folded her arms. "At the cafe?" He nodded once, jaw flexing. "Yes, you were jealous, Mara," he said quietly. "I was." "Jealous," she repeated. Lucan exhaled through his nose. "That's not accurate," she challenged. He closed his eyes briefly. When he opened them, the truth slipped out. "I don't like the thought of you alone with men I don't know." Mara blinked hard. "You're supposed to be my guardian, not my..." Her voice broke. Not her partner, not her lover, not the person she secretly wished he was. Lucan inhaled sharply. He stepped closer, close enough to make her heart stutter. "Mara," he whispered, "I'm trying, but you make it difficult to think." Her breath shook. "You can't say things like that," she whispered. "Not when you have." She swallowed. "Helena." Lucan stiffened. "I do not have Helena." She said, "You're engaged." "That is a lie." She said, "Your family's." "I do not care what she says." Mara's voice cracked. "Then why is she here?" Lucan looked away, pained. "Because my mother is forcing this conversation." Again, Mara felt her chest tighten. Lucan stepped closer, voice low, raw. "Helena is not the woman I want in this house." Mara's breath caught. He added quietly, "You are." Her heart thumped so loudly, she wondered if the vegetables on the counter could hear. Before she could say anything, a voice echoed from upstairs. "Lucan, tear and help me with my luggage." "Helena." Lucan closed his eyes like he was praying for meteor impact. He whispered to Mara, "This weekend may get complicated." Mara swallowed. "It already is." Lucan hesitated, lingering, wanting to say more, then reluctantly walked upstairs. Mara stared after him, heartbeat still tangled. Suri peeked into the kitchen a minute later. "Is it safe to come out?" "No," Mara whispered. "Not even a little." Suri sighed. "Girl, you are living inside a love triangle. I would pay money to watch." Mara groaned into her hands. Helena did not simply visit. Helena occupied space the way a hurricane occupies a coastline. She spent the morning sweeping through the Hale estate, as if auditioning for a fashion documentary, changing outfits every hour, leaving perfume trails strong enough to stun a moose, and loudly laughing at things that weren't remotely funny. Every time she laughed, Lucan flinched. Mara stayed out of the way, mostly in the kitchen, slicing fruit that didn't need slicing, and reorganizing spices alphabetically for the fourth time. Suri watched her with sad amusement. "You're cutting apples like you're punishing them." Mara set down the knife. She kissed his cheek. "That wasn't a kiss," Suri corrected. "That was property marking." Mara groaned and slumped against the counter. "I shouldn't care. He's my guardian. This is stupid." "Mara," Suri whispered. "He pinned you against a cafe wall. Guardian duties don't include that." Mara buried her face in her hands. "It's confusing." And it became even more confusing when Helena's voice rang out from upstairs. You can be a gentleman and zip me up. The zipper is stuck." Suri froze. Mara froze. Lucan, somewhere upstairs, audibly suffered. "You okay?" Suri whispered. "No," Mara said. "I think I'm dying." Lucan's footsteps were heavy, irritated, reluctant as he paused in front of Helena's guest room door. "Oh, good," Helena cooed. "You came." Lucan exhaled. "What do you need?" "The zipper," she said dramatically, turning her back. "Help me." Lucan stepped closer, jaw tightening. From the hallway, Mara watched. She hadn't meant to. She'd come upstairs to get her charger. But there they were, Helena standing with her back bare, Lucan lifting a zipper. Mara's stomach twisted. The jealousy hit her like a fast-moving car. She turned away before she could see more. Helena's giggle echoed behind her. Mara walked faster, head down, eyes stinging. She rounded a corner and collided with someone. A strong hand caught her arm, steadying her. Rowan Pike, the barista from the cafe, standing inside the Hale estate foyer with a small bakery box. "Mara," he said, smiling warmly. "You okay?" Mara blinked hard. "Rowan, what are you doing here?" He lifted the box. "Brought something for you." "For me?" "Yeah," he shrugged, bashful. "Thought about you after you left. Wanted to make sure you were okay." Mara's breath hitched. He was sweet, normal, simple, nothing like Lucan Hale. Before she could answer, Lucan's voice cut sharply through the foyer. Mara, her heart jumped. Rowan turned. Lucan stood at the top of the stairs, face unreadable, posture stiff, like a man caught between rage and disbelief. "Who is this?" Lucan asked. Rowan stepped forward. "Rowan Pike. We met today." Lucan's gaze slid to Mara. "You invited him here?" Mara opened her mouth, but Rowan answered first. "I just wanted to check on her. She seemed upset. I figured a friendly visit wouldn't hurt." Lucan inhaled slowly, dangerously slow. "Let's talk privately," he said. Mara shook her head. "No, not after." "Mara," Lucan repeated, voice heavy with warning. "Now." Rowan looked between them. "Do you want me to leave?" Mara hesitated. That hesitation was all Lucan needed. Haiti descended the stairs, hand closing around her wrist. Not harsh, but firm enough that her body reacted before her mind did. Rowan stiffened. "Hey." Lucan didn't look at him. "Let go," Mara said quietly. He didn't, but he did whisper only to her, "Please." Something in his voice shook her. She nodded once. Rowan exhaled in defeat. "I'll head out," he said. "Call me if you need anything." Before she could reply, Lucan gently tugged her toward the east wing. Lucan guided her into a quiet stairwell, the one no staff ever used. The door shut behind them. Silence filled the space, not comfortable silence, charged silence. Mara yanked her wrist free. "You can't keep doing that." Lucan didn't move. He braced one hand against the railing, his voice low and shaky. "Why was he here?" "He came to bring me a pastry." "And why?" Lucan asked, stepping closer. "Does a stranger think he can walk into my home to deliver pastries?" "He's not a stranger. He is to me." Mara laughed bitterly. "Everything is a threat to you." "No," he said quietly. "Only things that matter to me." Her breath caught. She whispered, "I matter to you." Lucan closed the distance dangerously. "More than you should." The stairwell felt smaller, hotter, like oxygen had become optional. Lucan lifted a hand, slow, hesitant, brushing his knuckles along her jaw. She shivered at the touch. "I shouldn't be doing this," he murmured. "But you are," she whispered. His thumb grazed her cheek. "You're upset," he said. "Tell me why." "Because you're my guardian," she whispered. "And I shouldn't feel this way." His jaw tensed. "And because of Helena," she added. Lucan stepped even closer, their breaths mingling, a hair's breadth apart. "Mara," he said softly, "there is nothing between Helena and me. I saw you with her zipper. That was nothing. It didn't look like nothing." His eyes darkened. He lifted her hand, slowly, and placed it over his chest. His heartbeat was racing. "You think I feel this intensity with Helena?" Mara swallowed hard. "I don't know what you feel," Lucan whispered. "You." Her lips parted. He wasn't touching her indecently. He wasn't kissing her. He wasn't doing anything truly inappropriate. But emotionally, he was setting her entire existence on fire. "Mara," he said, voice shaky. "You drive me insane," she whispered. "Then why do you run away from me?" Lucan's breath faltered. "I've been trying to protect you." "From what?" "From me," he said softly. "From all the ways I could break this." Her heart twisted. He leaned in, forehead nearly touching hers, but pulled back at the last second, exhaling through clenched teeth. "I can't cross that line," he whispered. "Not until I figure out how to do it without hurting you." Mara's chest tightened. "Then tell Helena to leave," she said, voice trembling. Lucan closed his eyes. "I will. Tell your mother to stop arranging your future. I will, and stop acting like I'm porcelain when I'm standing right in front of you. His eyes opened, raw, honest. Mara, I don't think I know how to be near you without wanting more than I'm allowed. Her breath shook. What if I want more too? Lucan's composure cracked. He leaned in, their lips inches apart, their breaths tangled, and then a loud high heel stomp echoed down the hallway. You, Khan. Where did you go? Helena. Lucan froze. Mara froze. Helena's shadow approached the stairwell door. Lucan stepped back fast, too fast, tearing himself away from her. He looked guilty, panicked, and that was what hurt. Mara stepped aside, wiping her eyes quickly. Helena opened the door. Oh, she chirped sweetly. There you are, darling. And Mara, why are you two standing in a stairwell together? Lucan swallowed hard. We were just leaving, Mara said quietly. We were just leaving. She brushed past them both and walked out. Lucan reached for her arm, but stopped himself. She didn't look back. Mara didn't cry when she walked out of that stairwell. She didn't cry when Helena asked, "Everything all right, sweetheart?" in that fake sweet voice. She didn't cry when Lucan didn't defend her fast enough. No, she saved the tears for when she reached her bedroom, shut the door, and let herself collapse on the bed. It wasn't heartbreak, not exactly. It was confusion, disappointment, desire, and anger, messy mixed into one emotional smoothie. No one asked to drink. She replayed the stairwell in her head. Lucan leaning in. Lucan whispering, "You drive me insane." Lucan nearly kissing her, and then recoiling like touching her would burn him alive. Her chest tightened. She didn't know what she wanted from him. She just knew what she did not want. To be Helena Voss's entertainment. To be a secret hidden in stairwells, while the woman upstairs planned wedding table arrangements. A knock sounded. Mara wiped her eyes fast. Yes? Suri poked her head in, holding a slice of chocolate cake and a spoon. Mara sniffed. You brought emergency sugar therapy, Suri whispered dramatically. Sit. Mara sat. Suri handed her the cake, then sat beside her on the bed and waited. After 2 spoonfuls, Mara finally whispered, Suri, he almost kissed me. Suri froze so hard, she almost stopped breathing. Well, okay. She clapped her hands dramatically. And that's what we call a plot twist. Mara groaned. Don't make it sound like a movie. Girl. Suri held up her hand. Everything about you two is a movie. I'm just trying to keep up. Mara sighed. I don't know what to do. Suri became serious. You don't have to do anything right now. Let him deal with Helena Vossi's circus. As if summoned by name, Helena's shrill laughter echoed down the hallway. Mara flopped onto her pillow. I hate her laugh. You hate her existence, Suri corrected. And I do too. Downstairs, Lucan Hale was having the worst afternoon of his adult life. Helena sat on the sofa, painting her nails with a red so bright it could signal airplanes. So, she said lightly, you and your little house guest seem close? Lucan stiffened. Helena, Lucan, she interrupted. I don't mind competition. We are, he began. Helena cut him off again, with a bright smile that could peel skin. Oh, darling, please don't insult me. I saw you two pressed together in that stairwell, like characters in a forbidden romance. Lucan exhaled sharply. It wasn't. Oh, hush, she cooed. I'm not here to judge. I'm here to help. He stared at her. Help with what? Your mother, Helena sighed. She's determined to formalize our engagement, and she's coming tonight. Lucan froze. She's what? Helena applied another stroke of polish. She'll be here for dinner. She wants to evaluate Mara. Lucan's eyes widened. No, that is not happening. Oh, Helena raised a brow. You think she doesn't already know something is going on? Parents always know, Lucan. He stood abruptly. This ends tonight. Helena, you need to leave. That made her laugh. A cold, amused laugh. Oh, darling, she murmured. You say that as if you still control anything in this house. Lucan stared at her. Helena crossed her legs slowly. You forgot, didn't you? Your father's trust legally binds your living arrangements. If you want full control of your estate, you must fulfill the terms. Lucan stiffened. I know the terms. Do you? She smirked. I had my lawyer send me a copy. Would you like to hear the clause your mother conveniently skipped? Lucan hesitated. Helena leaned back elegantly. The trust states, she said slowly, that before inheriting complete control, the heir must either marry a suitable partner, approved by the board, or serve as guardian to one beneficiary, until they reach stability, as defined by the board. Lucan blinked. Helena smiled sweetly. That second part, darling, that beneficiary, is Mara. Lucan's heart stopped. Suri burst into Mara's room, like she'd discovered fire. Mara sat up. What? Did Helena finally choke on her own perfume cloud? No, something worse. Suri shut the door and whispered. There's a clause in Lucan's father's will. Mara narrowed her eyes. What clause? Lucan must either get married, Suri paused for dramatic effect, or serve as guardian to a beneficiary, until they become stable. Stable, Mara repeated. Yes, and guess who that beneficiary is? Mara blinked once, twice. No, yes, you're lying. I wish I was. Mara clutched her blanket. So he took me in because of a trust rule. Suri bit her lip. I'm not saying that's the whole reason, but Helena is definitely using this against him. Mara's chest tightened painfully. She whispered, so I'm not here because he cares. I'm here because he has to be my guardian. Suri's eyes softened. Mara, I don't believe that. Not after what I've seen. But he hasn't told me, Mara whispered. Why hide it? At 6:45 that evening, the dining room filled. Helena Voss, glowing with victory, Suri glaring daggers, Lucan tense, brooding, quiet, Mara composed on the outside, unraveling inside, and then Lucan's mother arrived, elegant, cold, sharp-eyed, the type of woman who could walk into a room and immediately locate all weaknesses. Mara Linden, she said with a small, polite smile. I've heard so much about you. Mara stood. It's nice to meet you. Likewise, the woman replied, assessing her like an object up for auction. Helena leaned toward Lucan and whispered loudly, she cleans up well, at least. Lucan shot Helena a warning glare. His mother took her seat. Let's begin. Dinner began with small talk. Polite, cold, controlled. Lucan's mother directed most attention at Helena, asking about her charity events, her designer partnerships, her family holdings. Helena preened like a peacock. Not once did Mara receive a question, not one, but she didn't mind. Silence was safer right now, until Helena opened her perfectly glossed mouth. So, she said cheerfully, when do you intend to send your little house guest away? The table stilled. Lucan's mother looked at Mara. Yes, I was about to ask the same. Lucan stiffened. She's not going anywhere. His mother's eyes sharpened. Lucan. He didn't look at her. He looked at Mara. Mara looked at her plate. His mother folded her hands. You know the terms of the will. Helena has explained them. Mara's fork froze. Lucan's voice dropped. Mother, you have a responsibility, she continued. You must either marry a qualified partner or finish your guardianship. And the longer you keep this girl here, the longer this uncertainty drags on. Mara felt Helena's triumphant gaze. Lucan spoke through clenched teeth. She stays. His mother shook her head slowly. That is not your choice alone. Helena smirked. You hear that, darling? You can't keep your stray forever. Mara's breath hitched. Lucan stood abruptly. The chair scraped the floor. I am her guardian, he snapped. My decision is influenced, Helena said sweetly, by feelings you shouldn't have. Silence exploded through the room. Mara's cheeks burned. Lucan's mother's eyebrows lifted. Feelings? She asked sharply. For her? Lucan froze. Mara felt her heart stop. Suri held her breath. Helena gleamed like a cobra. Look at them, Helena said loudly. He's been acting like a Jar Ellis boyfriend all week. You should have seen them in the stairwell. Helen, Lucan barked. But Helena wasn't done. She's not his beneficiary. She's his distraction. And she's ruining everything. Mara pushed back her chair. Lucan reached for her. Mara, she shook her head violently, stepping away. Don't, she whispered. Don't touch me. Lucan's hand dropped. She looked at his mother, then at Helena, then at him. She felt small, humiliated, heart bruised. I won't make this harder for you, Mara whispered. Mara, Lucan's voice cracked. She turned and walked out. Helena's victorious smile followed her. Lucan's shattered stare followed harder. His mother's calculating eyes followed hardest. Mara made it to the hallway before she heard it. Lucan's mother saying firmly, Helena, pack your things. The engagement ceremony will be arranged for next week. Mara didn't hear Lucan's response. She didn't need to. She ran upstairs, locked her door, and let herself break for the first time. Mara had never packed so fast in her life. Clothes she barely wore, shoes she didn't even like, a phone charger, lip balm, and the emergency chocolate bar Suri always kept hidden behind the oatmeal. Her hands shook the entire time. Every heartbeat echoed Helena's voice. She's his distraction. She's ruining everything. She's not his beneficiary. She's his problem. And the worst part, Lucan didn't deny having feelings. He also didn't confirm them. He didn't say anything at all. That silence cut deeper than any insult Helena had weaponized. Suri burst into the room, eyes wide with panic. No, no, you are not leaving. Mara zipped her suitcase. I have to. You don't. You're acting on emotion. I get it. I totally get it. But this isn't the solution. Suri, Mara whispered. I can't stay in a house where I feel like an obligation. You're not an obligation. But Mara shook her head. So I'm the beneficiary in a legal clause. I'm a loophole. I'm a responsibility he has to complete to get full control of his estate. You're more than that, Suri whispered desperately. Tell that to his mother. Suri froze. Mara's voice softened. I can't stay here while Helena plans wedding flowers and his mother plans the engagement, and I'm just sitting in a guest room, waiting for the universe to stop humiliating me. Suri swallowed hard. You're breaking his heart. No, Mara whispered. He already broke mine. Before Suri could respond, footsteps thundered down the hallway. Lucan. His voice was tight, breathless, furious, desperate, all mixed together. Mara, open the door. Suri looked at Mara with wide eyes. Mara, don't answer, Mara whispered. Mara, Lucan said again, knocking harder, voice shaking now. Please, open the door. Silence. Then, Mara, I swear to God, open this door before I... Before he could finish, Suri cracked open the door an inch. Lucan's chest rose and fell sharply. His hair was slightly messed up. He looked like he'd run through the entire estate, Where is she? He demanded. Suri blocked the door with her small, terrified body. She's upset, Lucan. Give her a minute. Mara. His voice softened instantly. Mara, please talk to me. Mara stood frozen. Suri shook her head at her subtly, whispering, Don't break yet. Lucan's voice came again, low, raw, stripped of ego. I didn't know she would twist the trust clause. I didn't know she would tell you. Mara finally spoke, a whisper. Lucan, why didn't you tell me? He pushed his forehead against the doorframe, as if holding himself upright. Because you would think exactly what you're thinking now, that I'm your obligation. No, his voice strained, that you're the reason I failed. Mara blinked. Failed. Lucan exhaled shakily. I'm supposed to be stable, in control, a leader. My father built an empire expecting me to follow. Instead, I've spent years drowning everything out. When you came, everything got louder, more real, more complicated, and I didn't know how to handle it. Mara's chest tightened. Lucan, she whispered, I can't stay here if you don't want me. Silence, the deadliest silence yet. Then the sound of something slamming. Lucan had pressed both palms against the door, like he was keeping the world from ripping him apart. Mara, he whispered, voice trembling now. I've wanted you since the second you walked into that emergency room. Suri's jaw dropped. What? Mara breathed. I tried to ignore it. I tried to be rational. I tried to be your guardian, not whatever this is, Lucan. But every time you smile, every time you talk, every time you breathe in my direction, I feel like I'm losing every rule I've ever lived by. Mara's throat tightened. But then why? Why Helena? You think I want Helena? Lucan snapped. His voice cracked. She's the life my mother wants me to live. Not the one I want. Not the one I've ever wanted. Suri stepped back slowly. I'm gonna go water a plant, or a lamp, or anything. Holler, if you need me. She disappeared instantly. Lucan's voice dropped to a whisper. Mara, please open the door. For the first time, Mara walked to the door and unlocked it. Lucan stepped inside instantly, not touching her, but looking like he might fall apart if she vanished again. His eyes scanned her packed suitcase. Mara, no. She looked down. I need space. He shook his head. You need the truth. She swallowed. Then tell me. Lucan inhaled deeply. I'm not avoiding Helena. I'm not avoiding the board's approval. I'm avoiding the possibility that you walk out of this house without knowing how much you've changed me. Her heart stuttered. Lucan, I am not stable around you, he said. I am not rational. I am not calm. I am not pretending well anymore. Mara's eyes filled. He stepped closer, slow, deliberate, holding himself back with visible effort. Mara, the trust clause didn't bring you into my life. His voice broke. You did. She shook her head weakly. You still have to choose a path. A marriage. A partner your family approves of. And what if, he whispered, I want the one person they would never approve of. Mara's breath trembled. Their eyes locked. A moment of truth. A moment of fire. A moment of possibility. You shouldn't say things like that, she whispered. And you shouldn't pack, he responded. Before either could say more, a scream echoed from downstairs. A man's voice. Then the sound of something shattering. Lucan tensed immediately. Mara, stay here. No, she whispered. I'm coming. Before he could argue, they ran together down the staircase. The foyer was a mess. Glass shattered, a suitcase torn open, papers everywhere. Helena Voss was screaming at someone on the floor. Lucan froze. Mara gasped. Rowan Pike, bleeding, bruised, on the floor of the Hale estate. "Rowan," Mara whispered, rushing toward him. Lucan grabbed her arm instinctively. "Careful." Rowan struggled to sit up, gripping his side. His eyes met Mara's, pained, urgent. "Mara, I came to warn you." "Warn me," she whispered. Rowan nodded, breathing hard. Helena snapped. He broke in. Rowan glared weakly. "I didn't break in. I was pushed in." Lucan's eyes narrowed. "By who?" Rowan swallowed, then looked straight at Lucan. "By the same person who's been manipulating you for years." Lucan stiffened. "What are you talking about?" Rowan lifted a shaking hand and pointed upstairs, straight toward Lucan's mother's private study. Lucan froze. Mara froze. Rowan whispered, "She's the one forcing the marriage. She's the one blocking your guardianship approval. She's the one sabotaging every alternative path you've tried. Everything is rigged, Lucan. Everything." A long, deadly silence fell. Lucan's face changed. Slowly, dangerously, like something inside him had snapped loose. He whispered, one sentence, a sentence that changed everything in the house. "My mother did what?" Helena stepped back. Mara's heart dropped. Rowan tried to speak again. Lucan moved first, toward the stairs. Fast, determined, silent fury in every step. Mara grabbed his arm. "Lucan, wait, what are you going to do?" He turned to her slowly, eyes dark, voice low. "End this." He took another step, and then a door upstairs slammed hard. A shadow appeared. A figure stepped forward. Lucan stiffened. Mara froze. Suri gasped. Rowan whispered, "It's her. She knows we know." Lucan whispered Mara's name once. "You still have to choose a path, a marriage, a partner your family approves of." "And what if," he whispered, "I want the one person they would never approve of?" Mara's breath trembled. Their eyes locked. A moment of truth, a moment of fire, a moment of possibility. "You shouldn't say things like that," she whispered. "And you shouldn't pack," he responded. Before either could say more, a scream echoed from downstairs, a man's voice, then the sound of something shattering. Lucan tensed immediately. "Mara, stay here." "No," she whispered. "I'm coming." Before he could argue, they ran together down the staircase. The foyer was a mess. Glass shattered, a suitcase torn open, papers everywhere. Helena Voss was screaming at someone on the floor. Lucan froze. Mara gasped. Rowan Pike, bleeding, bruised, on the floor of the Hale estate. "Rowan," Mara whispered, rushing toward him. Lucan grabbed her arm instinctively. "Careful." Rowan struggled to sit up, gripping his side. His eyes met Mara's, pained, urgent. "Mara, I came to warn you." "Warn me," she whispered. Rowan nodded, breathing hard. Helena snapped. He broke in. Rowan glared weakly. "I didn't break in. I was pushed in." Lucan's eyes narrowed. "By who?" Rowan swallowed, then looked straight at Lucan. "By the same person who's been manipulating you for years." Lucan stiffened. "What are you talking about?" Rowan lifted a shaking hand and pointed upstairs, straight toward Lucan's mother's private study. Lucan froze. Mara froze. Rowan whispered, "She's the one forcing the marriage. She's the one blocking your guardianship approval. She's the one sabotaging every alternative path you've tried. Everything is rigged, Lucan. Everything." A long, deadly silence fell. Lucan's face changed. Slowly, dangerously, like something inside him had snapped loose. He whispered, one sentence, a sentence that changed everything in the house. "My mother did what?" Helena stepped back. Mara's heart dropped. Rowan tried to speak again. Lucan moved first, toward the stairs, fast, determined, silent fury in every step. Mara grabbed his arm. Lucan, wait, what are you going to do? He turned to her slowly, eyes dark, voice low. End this. He took another step, and then a door upstairs slammed hard. A shadow appeared. A figure stepped forward. Lucan stiffened. Mara froze. Surrey gasped. Rowan whispered, "It's her. She knows we know." Lucan whispered Mara's name once.